Her Excellency Linda Tagliatella and a team visiting from that embassy. Following that meeting, the ambassador and prime minister would now have brief the country on the specifics of that meeting as well as take questions. I would now invite Dr. Gonzalez to brief you, and then he would invite Her Excellency to address you as well. Dr. Gonzalez.
Well, I want to welcome Her Excellency again to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and to this press briefing. You know, Linda and I have been together now for 6 years. And we know each other very, very well. And we are very good friends, apart from our two countries being very strong friends and allies. I think it's preferable that Her Excellency make the various announcements that she has to make in relation to the recovery effort, well, not just recovery, the humanitarian and rehabilitation recovery effort after La Soufrière volcanic eruptions. I just want to place on record our support, our gratitude for the support that the United States of America has given to St. Vincent and the Grenadines during this time of the volcanic eruptions. As you know, from the very beginning, we made the point, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, our government, that in the problem which we have is of such a magnitude that we cannot address the issues by ourselves, that we didn't have the resource capacity to do it in the most efficacious of ways, and that we relied not only on our own capacity and our own resilience in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and our own plans and our own institutions, but we needed the assistance of our Caribbean family and also of the global community. I made a point further that historically, when governments in Canada, North America, generally the United States of America, Europe, Britain, individual countries in the European Union and other countries deal with issues of humanitarian relief, they tend to do so largely through institutions which we all support, like, for instance, the Red Cross, CDMA, the Regional Security System, PAHO, and there are other institutions, multilateral institutions, to which governments contribute, like the United States of America, they do to the World Bank, from which we secure resources, to the IMF, from which we secure resources, and others too. I mean, Canada and Britain put resources as non-borrowing countries in the Caribbean Development Bank, and so on and so forth. So that it's a national effort, it's a regional effort, and it's a global effort, generally, but specifically when you have challenges of this kind. And we work together. That's why we launched a United Nations Global Appeal Fund with the United Nations. And money is pledged there, not coming to the consolidated fund of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but the various agencies of the United Nations, the World Food Program, WFP, they work with us. UNEP, the United Nations Environment Program, they work with us. so that resources which we would normally have spent or seek to spend in those areas where they are helping us, we can divert those resources to other matters, peculiarly within our own domain. And it is in that frame that I believe that there are some very important announcements to be made by my dear friend Linda, and I want to thank the American government for their assistance. As you know, that I had written to President Joe Biden, and I also had written to Vice President Kamala Harris. In fact, I cheekily asked Kamala if she could, as being a woman of part Caribbean descent, I knew her father. I know her father, that if she can keep a special eye on St. Vincent and the Grenadines for me in the administration, in the U.S. administration. But of course, I've known President Biden since the days he was vice president of the vice president of the United States under our brother Barack Obama. He and I share, among other things, a love for the poetry of W.B. Yeats, Walter Butler Yeats, and we exchange. He would quote something from Yeats to me, and I would reply with something else, supporting our respective positions. So I send greetings to him, and I send greetings, of course, to Vice President Harris. We had also been in touch with congressmen and women on different aspects of cooperation between the United States government and the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I'm really happy to see Linda here today. And the old saying, beware of Greeks bearing gifts. Well, she's not Greek. And Linda, it's your turn. And any questions we can accommodate later. What I'm going to ask colleagues of the press, if you have any questions to ask me of a domestic political kind, you can wait until Linda leaves, and you can ask me. And if we have the time, I will answer. I know I don't want us to follow the example of what I see happening with the White House press corps. They don't worry about that at all. So, Linda, it's you.
Thank you. First, I have to say, it has been a long time since I've been in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and it is truly pleasant to be back, particularly to see the Prime Minister and our other close contacts here on the island. But I have to say it gives me great pleasure today to announce that the United States is giving $3.8 billion for emergency assistance to the people affected by the eruption of the volcano. This new assistance, which comes through USAID, adds to the United States' ongoing commitment to help with the assistance, and it increases our contributions to $5 million. We began our efforts with the first signs that the volcano was starting to make noise by bringing seismic equipment, setting up a station, and helping and collaborating with the University of West Indies on tracking what the volcano might be doing. Since then, we have continued to contribute to international partners to provide assistance to St. Vincent. Today, the $3.8 million will go to important things such as allowing for access to emergency food, to safe drinking water, and to hygiene kits. Also, it will provide an avenue for which we can better facilitate the movement of supplies, presenting additional support to the infrastructure, and it will also give us the opportunity to help work with St. Vincent in its road to recovery. We are donating the money through the UN appeal. The money will be handed to our humanitarian partners, which are the World Food Program, the International Red Cross, UNICEF, and PAHO. They will work, we will work with them on the use of the money and maintaining and monitoring the programs. I have to say that the United States is committed to assisting St. Vincent and the Grenadines in this time. We are partners, we are friends, we are close allies, and it's important for us to support St. Vincent at this time. I have with me representatives of USAID, Clinton White, who's the director of our program out of Barbados, and John Kimbrough, who is actually part of the Bureau of Humanitarian Assistance at USAID. And John is sort of the guy on the ground who knows the nitty-gritty. I would also like to say, and I really wasn't planning on totally announcing this today, but through our humanitarian assistance program, the United States Southern Command has committed $4 million to St. Vincent and Nemo for training and equipment, the renovation of shelter and warehouse, and the donation of 2 field hospitals, which will be available in case of further natural disasters. So I'm very happy to be here today. We would entertain any questions you might have. You can ask questions of the Prime Minister or myself. We will do our best to respond.
If anyone wishes to ask a question, could you please indicate by show of hands, and I'll bring the mic to you.
Okay. I think everything is said with clarity. There are no questions on these. I'd just like to say that I've been advised that just in excess of 3 million of the 3.8 million would be going to the United Nations Global Appeal, which would make that sum go in excess of $8 point something million US, which would be amounting to, thus that sum would be about 30% of the 29.2 million which we are seeking to raise. And after 3 weeks, that appeal that is in circles which know about these sorts of appeals, I'm told that is not a bad, that's pretty good for after 3 weeks. And additionally, the money coming from U.S. Southern Command, of course, U.S. Southern Command and ourselves, we work together. I don't know if you recall this. In 2019, when we hosted Trade Winds, that there was a simulation with the volcano. We were in the red zone, we were in other parts, with all the local agencies, with NEMO. You may recall that at the time that there are many persons who didn't understand fully what a simulation is about and thought that this was the real thing. And that people were calling me frantically to tell me that, well, you know, people are about to say the volcano is erupting and what is happening about the evacuation. And I had to point out that it was just a simulation. It wasn't the real thing. It was a practice run just in case we have the real thing. So we are with Southern, U.S. Southern Command on many security issues on which we collaborate. And I want to thank the Humanitarian Division of the Southern Command, U.S. Southern Command, for what Linda announced. That's additional to the $3.8 million, that they will do the things what she said that they would do in that regard, with the shelters and with NEMO and the infrastructure and so forth, towards the humanitarian rehab, the humanitarian effort. And also, when you're doing humanitarian effort, there are always some early origins of rehabilitation. The distinction is sometimes not so easy to make conceptually, but not so easy always to make in practice. So that's it. If there are no No further no questions at all? Linda?
Yes, Prime Minister.
Thank you very much. I believe there's one other matter I'd like to just simply speak to, but not as a result of a conversation I had with Professor Beckles this morning, Sir Hilary Beckles. But that doesn't need to detain you, Linda. You have other things you have to go and do.
I do have other things to do.
Yes.
While we're here today, we are going to go see Nemo. We have been to the hub this morning prior to meeting with the Prime Minister. We're very interested in what is going on in St. Vincent. Today is not our last trip here. Obviously, we will continue to monitor what the volcano is doing, plus we will continue to work with our international partners to determine what other needs St. Vincent has. So I want to say that today is the beginning, not the beginning, it's part of the first part of what we're going to do to assist St. Vincent in their road to recovery. Our USAID colleagues have been monitoring this for an incredible period of time, as I said, starting with when the earthquakes or the volcano first started to make noise. We will continue to do that until things have settled down. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you just, we allow Linda and her team to go. Thanks very much, Linda.
Thank you. It was very nice seeing you.
Yes.
And we have the opportunity for a photo op with Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Ralph Gonsalves and the U.S. Ambassador to Barbados, the Eastern Caribbean, and the OECS, Linda Tagliatella. At this point, she would take her leave with members of the delegation, including those from USAID, and the Prime Minister will continue with some other updates, particularly related to his meeting with the representative of the UWI, Sir Hilary Beckles. So we go back to the press
Sir Hilary Beckles, Vice Chancellor, who is going down. He's here on a visit, and he's leaving today. He's going down to, in fact, I believe he's already down at the Belmont Observatory, because that is under his watch as Vice Chancellor, the Seismic Research Center. I want to say this. He will make announcements about this, but since I have the opportunity and I'm permitted by him to speak to this, they have taken a decision to make some special provisions for Vincentian students, that in respect of students who are going in for the new academic year and students who are already there at all the campuses, they will provide relief on fees for the next year, generally up to 50%, and that they may well go higher in specific cases which they would address on a case-by-case basis. And in relation to the students who are at open campus, they would give 25% reduction of the fees there, and in certain circumstances may go higher on a case-by-case basis. So 50% across the university and on the fees. And also, I should point out, not only the university fees, but they would also do the same thing in relation to the campus accommodation. That is to say, in the campus accommodation units owned and operated by the university. Because I think some in Jamaica are privately, some are operated by the university, some are owned privately and operated by the private entity there. And they will try to keep them naturally in those which are operated by the university. In Barbados, all those are owned and operated by the University of the West Indies. This is going to be a big help to our students. I hope Chanel Lamkin from Vincent, Barbados, who has been writing me, wrote, well, one letter, and I saw a follow-up yesterday. I'm really sorry, Chanel, that I didn't get in touch with you back as I had promised this week. It has been very, very hectic every single day. In relation to the one matter which you raised about whether students who are at Cave Hill, who for one reason or the other would like to remain there, that they would get the same 50% off. That is to say, over the holiday period, because of the volcano, they may not have anywhere to come. And in relation to the Pacific student, which was you asked about, who was not well and who has to remain there, that person can get further relief. In relation to those who want to come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and who obviously, because they're all persons who they hadn't started to give the younger folk the vaccine, and they obviously wouldn't, I don't think hardly any of them would have been vaccinated because of that in the policy which has been used in Barbados. And they have to quarantine, depending on their situation, for 7 or 14 days. We would provide some relief to the government. I don't know the actual numbers. I have to find that out from Chanel, from Chanel Lamkin. These are people from the red zone and the orange zone. These are students who are returning and who don't have access to their homes. And of course, there are those who in their situation where the protocol will say that they have to, that they need to go into a quarantined establishment. We'll have to help. But I want to know what the numbers are so that I can say what is the extent of the help in that regard. So just want them to know that. That's it. I don't know if there's any question you want to ask me about that, or any other matter which has arisen. I had said on radio, well, in Parliament, I had announced it on Thursday. I'm leaving with Eloise for Cuba. Would be away for 3 weeks, maybe a few more days than 3 weeks. We'll see how that goes. But I'll do work from there, because my permanent secretary in the the Prime Minister's office is coming. So we have good facilities at our mission in Havana. As you know, there's some immediate health concerns which Eloise has to deal with. So I kind of help to accommodate that while at the same time doing the work. That's why I wanted to get this supplementary appropriation bill, supplementary estimates out of the way, and we put in all the arrangements in place for the implementation. We have set up a interministerial committee to direct the housing aspect of the program, and we have set up an interministerial committee on reconstruction. So recovery and reconstruction. So all the administrative aspects are in place for us to do the work, both in respect of our supplementary appropriation bill, supplementary estimates, and to help to coordinate with the work of other agencies in the region and outside, and governments, which are making a contribution towards our rehabilitation, recovery, and reconstruction work. Okay. All right.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Gonzalez, and thank you to the members of the media who are here presently. Thank you to those on Radio Land who joined us today or on Facebook, whatever medium you tune in. At this point, you would go back to your regular programming.